Sometimes it's soft as a misty rain.
Welcome back to the Royal Treatment YouTube channel. I am so happy to see you guys again. I know you waited for part 2 of the leave-in conditioners or leave out. And I know I went over a lot of background before, but guess what? I've got a little bit of juicy tea today. Besides talking about what leave-in conditioners are and why they would be useful, I have some information that I don't think has been shared by anyone in the curl artist industry that may have taken some of the Katakinki classes. But I just wanted to lay a foundation on what was actually taught. Now, what was heard and what was, I guess, what is the word? Oh, I can't think of the word. So like I stated, I've had a fair amount of time to reflect on what information was actually taught in a class, because I wanted to clarify it not only for you all as the viewers, but also for myself. Did I misunderstand? Was there a miscommunication? And even though something may be implied, was it reinforced? Was that message reinforced to where the consumer understood? And the consumer is not only you all as clients, but also us as paying stylists to Katakinki as well. And so I want to present facts, and again, that's what I'm here for the facts, and to give a new and different perspective of what was done, what was said in regards to the professional side. We also have heard the consumer side and the concerns and why they feel that way. But what's missing is actually someone like me as an insider to what was actually taught. So I will get into that shortly. What I love to do is just for a minute, let's just for clarification, and I know you'll see me look at my notes and whatnot. For anyone that is new here, just to get a nice basis for our conversation, what is a leave-in conditioner? It's actually designed to provide long-term hydration and nourishment, long-term, and can keep hair fresh all day. The leave-in conditioner can have many of the same properties as a regular conditioner, such as detangling, defrizzing, and moisturizing. However, it's usually much lighter, and so it can stay in your hair instead of needing to be rinsed out because it is lighter. And this allows your hair to kind of soak up more of the moisturizing benefits because it stays in. Now, leave-ins can come in both creams and liquids. And one of the things that I want to talk about is climate and why you would necessarily want to use maybe something a little bit different. But we'll get to that. So the creams and the liquids, some are dually formulated as detangling products, like, for example, the Not Today that everybody has come to love because it is one of those products that is pretty universal. You can use it with so many different things, even though it's a system. The creamy leave-ins are best for those with thick, coarse hair, while sprays often suffice for those with fine hair. Most leave-ins with creamy consistency are also great as water-based moisturizers. These are excellent for those with fine hair because typically with fine hair, you don't want to use the heavier water-based moisturizers simply because it's going to weigh the hair down. So leave-in sprays and mist are both great for touching up and reinvigorating the natural hair curls and coils throughout the week and whatnot. Typically, if you're just spraying water, that is going to just break your cast. Some light curl refreshing is not necessarily a bad thing, but I have noticed that we were not encouraged to do that, because once your hair is set, it's set, and anything that you spray on it could diffuse the cast and break it, and so that could encourage more frizzing, in my opinion, and I've seen that. It just really depends on what it is. So what I suggest for refreshing is maybe just a little bit of both. If you need to do a little bit of leave-in and maybe a little bit of foam on an area, but just don't leave it naked unless you have enough gel for it to reformulate. So if your application is good and you do a light mist of a leave-in, if you have enough gel in there, it will reactivate, and then your curls can naturally be reset, and you may not have to use any additional product. So I hope that clarifies that. So when you're wanting to select a leave-in, you want to either select one for just moisture or protein base. And I believe a lot of leave-ins, there are actually a lot of them that have more protein. Then you'd be surprised that they have a lot of protein in them. So if you need less, you want to make sure and read the ingredients to make sure that you don't need more moisture in your hair. If you've already gotten a protein treatment, you don't want anything that adds more protein. So that being said, you can have one of both. You just have to know which one you're using because you've read the ingredients. So as I mentioned, Kinky Curly Knot Today was a good one. And that is a part of a system. As I talked about before, what works on a hair types that are very kinky, coarse as in thick hair strands, and also coarse surface texture. And I'm talking about true 4Cs. Your hair really don't move. This is the hair that you have to really baby in terms of moisture, but then you have to work harder to define it if you're putting moisture on top of that hair. So there was some rationale behind not using the leave-ins because of the holding factor. So unless it was a system, it was encouraged, in my opinion, to not use the leave-in. Although I will go back in and I'm going to tell you exactly what was said in the class. Okay? So before I get to that, another system that is very well known for its moisturizer is Curl Mix. I've seen a variety of curl patterns and textures, meaning coarse, fine, medium, all be able to use Curl Mix. What I haven't seen is a lot of complaints about having problems with their hair because they already were using a system. So that's good to know, isn't it? Me personally, I have not perfected Curl Mix, so it's not one that I would use. Another system that provides a host of moisture, but is a little bit challenging so far as the learning curve, is the Adwoa Blue Tansy leave-in conditioner, and they also have the Band leave-in conditioner. Some people do not like the smell. They just don't. However, their curl defining gel, you have to use a ton of water for that, or you're going to end up with some flaking. And the definition for it, well, it depends on how you like your hair. What is your desired finish? But I have seen, and I've used it myself. And yeah, read the directions. That'll save you some time. That's all I can say about that one. But your hair typically is moisturized with that particular system. Another system that was kind of, again, the directions. Uncle Funky's has a system in place. The ingredients say to use extra butter, super curl, or good hair as the base before you actually use the Uncle Funky's. So you know how we would get the Uncle Funky's, and it would be, you know, if it got cold, it was kind of difficult to work with. You had to use a good amount of Uncle Funky's to get to the slip. If you know, you know. So the super curl is the one that I had experimented before I had even, you know, got into Cut It Kinky, but it wasn't a lot of hold because Uncle Funky's just didn't have the hold. So if I used the super curl and I used the Uncle Funky's, that was pretty much all that I knew at that point in time. If I was using it, I would have to layer it with a topper gel, and at that time I was using probably wet line, and yeah, your girl loves some wet line. I ain't mad at it. You look, that's one that you definitely need to layer with, because your girls, them curls was thick. They were thick and juicy, and you know, they had a lot of hold, and I can't be mad at wet line, but you definitely had to layer your products with that, and to know, you know, you did the back of the hand test. That's some old school stuff back in the day. But anyway, using the Uncle Funky's, you definitely have to use a heavier holding gel if you were going to use the base, which actually was the moisturizers that they encouraged in the directions. Yes, in the directions. So far we've discussed Kinky Curly, Not Today system, Uncle Funky's Super Curl, or any of their moisturizers, the Adjoa system, and Curl Mix. Now here's a side point. Somebody asked me in my DMs about discussing any leave-in conditioners that may have UV protection, you know, out in the sun is doing its thing. You know, the only one that I am aware of that really could possibly do the job well is the Mixed Chicks, not the Mixed Chicks, don't get that wrong, because I use none of their stuff. The Miracle Shield by Curlsmith, and so it has a lot of dual purpose properties that a lot of people have really liked. I have not used it personally, but a couple of clients of mine, they like it. I have not been impressed with anything else in that line per se for the clientele that I have, but that's one particular product that I think could be of use to other people that have that concern. So I'm that chick that loves to go straight to the horse's mouth. I love to get the facts, and I love to get it from both sides. Sometimes things can be misconstrued, sometimes things can be implied, but not necessarily said. And what's reinforced may not have actually been what the true messaging was supposed to be. I am not defending, I am simply sharing the facts. So, you know, this is in no way to disvalue what people have experienced, but there again, I am here to create balance and to share what I have experienced, what I have learned, and just like anyone else, to share my experience. I have that right as well, and I want everybody to know the facts. So there are things that I have enjoyed and that I learned from Cuddy Kinky. I believe they had a very good platform. It could have been the next thing from sliced bread, and it was. It just needed some help. And how things are handled, that really determines good business ethics, in my opinion. And so, that being said, I am just going to share what I actually paid for. And this is just part of one of the classes that I attended. Among other classes, I've attended plenty of classes to help me along the way, to know what I know. And this was very unique. This was a very different class, and it did enlighten me on a lot of things about natural hair that I did not know. And they had a unique approach. And so, yeah. So let's get into it. So this particular aspect that I'm going to share with you is from the Curl Rehab Boot Camp. So it's going to take you back to the original no oils, no butters. That's a misnomer. And let me tell you why. As a matter of fact, I'll just read it. We are challenging you to go 30 days without raw shea butter, raw coconut oil, raw castor oil, eco styler, and products that include them in the top 5 ingredients. This is from I Am Black Girl Curls and Cut It Kinky, verbatim. This is from a class that I took in print. So, moving on, it says first, we don't hate oils and butters. To the contrary, there are some dope products that are impeccably formulated with these ingredients in them, even in the top 5 ingredients. You'll even see some on our curated list, on our curated product list, rather. We are asking you to eliminate them from your hair diet for 30 days. 30 days, not forever. That was me saying not forever, because that's not what they said. And it says, because our minds and our hairs likely need a reset from some common natural hair bad practices that we've picked up over our journey. Here are 3 main reasons why you may need a reset. Number 1, raw ingredients are not meant to be used alone on the hair. The humectants, emollients, water, vitamins, and minerals included in product formulations work together to address hair concerns. Isolating an individual ingredient does not have the same efficacy. Often the molecules and raw forms of a product are too large for hair and skin care needs and must be processed to work effectively. No argument there. Oils and butters are not styling products. No product, method, or technique can create what isn't there. Let me repeat that. No product, method, or technique can create what isn't there. Now that's facts. You may see a change in your hair from the first cleaning session, or it may be a slow and steady process of changing habits and increasing hydration through a 3 to 6 month process. Your hair will challenge what you think you know about it. Your expectations of your hair may be completely skewed. This challenge isn't going to give you soft hair if your hair is coarse. It isn't going to multiply the number of follicles present in your scalp. And it isn't going to make Chicago weather any less disrespectful. Be open to loving and accepting what is growing out of your head as is. So, on the curated product list here, let's see, from the most natural. So we talked about oils and butters. Oh, oils and butters, number 3, are not moisture. The word moist is an adjective meaning slightly wet, damp. Moisture is water or other liquid diffused in small quantities as vapor within a solid condensed on a surface, yada, yada, yada. Key term is water. Applying oils and butter to dry hair just means you're lubricating dry hair. No argument. So what do I use? Well-formulated hair cleansing, conditioning, and styling products that don't include any of the no-no raw ingredients. The no-no raw ingredients and in the top 5 ingredients. We will introduce you to the hows and whys of product choices and usage and how that applies to the essential elements of your hair, which I feel like was absolutely a game changer for me, knowing the essential elements of hair, because it really did clarify, how hair typing really is not a accurate catch-all for everyone, because we can have all these different types of hair elements on one head. So there can be, coarse, you can have fine and medium strands all on one head. So I did like that approach. The curl rehab rules. Number 1, there are no rules. We understand you may be looking for someone to tell you the exact products to use on your hair and give you a step-by-step plan to achieve perfect curls. This ain't it. Let all of the type A-ness go. Be open to researching ingredients, observing what product consistency works for your desired styling effect, and know that you will have some style fails from time to time on this journey as you adapt new products and techniques into your hair care life. The only requirements are to cleanse, condition, and style. We've heard that. So this challenge does not require you to boil onions, make volcanoes, or whip up salad dressings and desserts. Generally, use up all your good organic groceries. Eat the $4 avocado. Basically, it says stick to a solid and consistent cleansing and conditioning routine. I'm going through a full cleansing conditioning routine at least every 5 to 10 days. And of course, reality as it is, that may expand because life happens. And don't overthink the process. This is not a magic bullet. Here's a list of their leave-in conditioner curated list. Kinky Curly, not today. Sultanicals, not sauce. John Masters Organic Shine On, never used that one. True Luxe Untie the Knot. Some of these I might have to go visit if they still make them. Darcy's Botanicals Daily Leave-In Conditioner. Jane Carter Revitalizing Leave-In. Trepador Babassu Quench Leave-In Curl Primer. In parentheses, yes, we know coconut oil is the second ingredient. We still love this amazing formula. TGIN Green Tea Leave-In. So those were on the list of curated products that were stated that could be used. Now, were they used? That's the question. Did we ever see them used? Personally, I did not see them used, very rarely. And was it encouraged for me as a stylist to use them? Not if I wanted to make my customers happy by giving them longer lasting sets, in all honesty. And is that wrong in itself? No, because that was the customer demand. Could they have known that the long reaching and long term effect of not having leave-ins would be detrimental to the hair? No, they could not have known that. Was it encouraged in certain climates? Well, from what I just read and what I've seen in some of my research, they did say that drier climates such as Las Vegas, as a matter of fact, let me just see hydration level. The current level of moisture within the strand. This is something that they probably came up with on their own, because that's not in a textbook, hydration level, because that can vary from minute to minute, from day to day. But I think it was a good way to explain a few things about whether the hair is hydrated or not. But here we are. So it says, this is something that can vary day to day, hour to hour, just like I just said. Just like the water you drank at 10 a.m. doesn't quench your thirst at 2 p.m., the water that was in your hair from Sunday cleansing session will evaporate in 4 to 7 days. Other elements like porosity and climate play a big role in hydration as well. Now I'm getting to a point, stay with me. For example, someone with low porosity may need to refresh the hair much sooner than someone with medium to high porosity. I don't know about that one. But because high porosity means that in my education, high porosity hair means the hair can receive water very quickly. It can leave out just as quickly. So in my opinion, that hair needs more moisture, more hydration on a more regular basis. But anyway, that's just me. And it says, just as someone living in place with a dry climate like Arizona may need to refresh their hair much sooner than someone who lives in Michigan. Then we talk about climate. And so it talks about drier climates like Las Vegas pull moisture from the hair, while more humid climates like Chicago can have too much moisture in the atmosphere, inspiring serious frizz. So that being said, someone that lives in a climate that is drier absolutely needs a leave-in. Absolutely. I'm not saying that no one that lives in a more humid environment doesn't need one, but a drier climate, especially if you are using gels that are known to be anti-humidity gels, anti-humectants. So if you are using, maybe even if you're using a base humectant gel that draws in, we're still topping that with an anti-humectant gel. What does that do? If you live in a drier climate, well, that anti-humidity and the humectant, they're going to work against each other in such a way that it actually is going to draw moisture out of the hair. It's got to get the moisture from somewhere. So just like in Georgia, the humectant is able to draw in the moisture from the air, and then you're going to end up with frizz. So an anti-humectant or anti-humidity is always a go-to, for sure. So I really feel like this was to be left to the individual consumer. And if you knew what your hair needed, then it should have been something that was encouraged based on those things. But I personally don't feel, again, like it was necessarily encouraged. It wasn't taught, in my opinion, on a regular enough basis for me to say, okay, that's part of a regimen that I should definitely be including. Because again, the focus was longevity. So I really hope this long video has been very eye-opening. I hope it has been increased your knowledge base of what was really said, and then you can make your own informed opinion about it if you haven't already. But at least you heard it from the horse's mouth, and then you can decide what, you know, your thoughts are on it as well. But for me, in my household, well, it just depends as to whether or not I use those particular products. It depends on the fabric in front of me. What I have noticed is that many gels do not necessarily encourage the use of leave-ins. I can think of just like two right off the bat. The new Miche, let me get the word right. The Miche Tropical Oasis gel. Love it, love it. It's wonderful. She says basically you don't need a leave-in for it, because they feel like it's a one and done. And can it be a one and done? Yes, it can. But it's also an anti-humidity. So you have to use your discretion. You have to know what works for your hair, what your hair needs. Maybe one day you just don't need it because you know you need that set to do what it's going to do. So you're going to actually follow the directions, and you're not going to use a leave-in. But maybe the following week you say, you know what, my hair needs more moisture, so I'm going to have a leave-in today, or this particular week, this shampoo. The other one is the Dew 808 gel. It basically is not encouraging you to use a leave-in because it has been stated on the back of the gel not to use anything that has oils in it. Most leave-ins may have some oils. And so basically the whole thought process is it will block the hold. That's why they are encouraging you not to use it. So the thought process of it is not a foreign thought process of not using a leave-in. Now, whether that worked for you or for anybody else in the long term, that again is an individual matter. And so I would just continue to encourage you to know your hair, and also partner with someone that you can have these discussions with so you can see and troubleshoot what works for you. Because maybe you did get the moisture that you needed, but you didn't get that longevity, because there will be times that you may use a product that you say, okay, this is a great leave-in, and you do all your gels and you're a frizz ball in 3 days. That you're not trying to do your hair over and over again. So, you know, in 1 week. So another gel that I think has a lot of moisture, because the second ingredient is glycerin. It goes from water to glycerin, and then you have the light, medium, and she hasn't come out with the heavy hold gel. I use the light on my hair. I still use the spray leave-in, and the light hold, it doesn't have any hold, but it has a lot of moisture. So it really just depends on your desired look and what you know about your hair. And with me being color treated, definitely need some kind of leave-in. You need high moisture. You need all the things for your hair. So that's pretty much it. That's what my thoughts are. That's what the facts are from this side, the professional side of what I was informed of. And I just wanted to share it with you so you all could hear and make your own decisions. So I hope you all have a beautiful day, and thank you for tuning in. I look forward to our next chat, and I would love to include some other fun things, but like I said, if you like it, check that button. If you don't like it, check that button. And if you're indifferent, check it. I'm open to all comments. Oh, and one last thing. Even though the situation has not been the best for individuals that have been affected, their hair and whatnot, I think it has also empowered them to really look at their hair, take what meat they could and spit out the bones, as we should for a lot of information that we receive on the internet, because every situation and everybody's hair is different, so you can only use what really applies to you. And sometimes that's a little bit of a trial and error type situation, so you may not know until you know, and that may cost you, and unfortunately it's something that did cost quite a few coins for many. And also I think it's also an opportunity for me as a stylist to really curate my I'm sorry, I'm in my car now. Curate everything that I am using for my clients individually. There is no cookie cutter formula that works for everyone, and really just to work with them one-on-one to help them achieve their goals. And it's helped me to even create new programs that I think are going to allow my clients' hair to really flourish. And so I'm super excited about the changes that have come, and I wish everyone well on their new hair journey as well. Take care.